is live at local morning radio, coming to you from the studios of Magic Broadcasting on Laird. This is the Kramer Show. This is the Kramer Show. The phone is now open, and the phone operators are standing by. Turn down your radio when you call. Pay attention and be ready to go. 850-233-9988.
I said, if you're having the best time of your life right now, nigga, yes, sir.
This is Kramer. Kramer.
What's going in? 7:05. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team with us today, as he is every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Tell you what, we'll do another blowout today. Why not? Everybody who calls up and gets on the air and asks Scott Major a question. And you know what? It can be, what's your shoe size, Scott? I don't care. We're going to throw in a MAGA hat. We're going to throw in a Love and Kisses You t-shirt. And all you got to do, 850-233-9988. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the man of the hour, the legend, Scott Major. Hello, sir.
Hey, pal. How you doing?
I'm well. It's hotter than hell here. I don't know why. We got this massive heat wave that will not move out of the area. It's hot, Scott. Outside of that, outstanding. What's going on with you?
Not much, my friend. Everything's great, and I got no complaints.
Read you a quote here. I'm sure you have a lot of stuff that you want to say about this, but I'm going to read a quote from my best friend in high school, who's a flaming liberal. He wrote, quote, "My faith in the state of the American universe in a nutshell. Mueller could have said anything, and it still wouldn't change anything, and won't change anything. A quote comes to mind. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose voters." That's from Brian, my best friend in high school, who's a flaming liberal who just wrote that on Facebook. And I, like you, saw all this as it broke yesterday, and I assumed, probably correctly, that you have something to say about it.
That is incredibly intuitive. I must tell you that if you listen to yesterday's statement, one must question exactly why Robert Mueller said and did what he did. In other words, if you listen to his statement, he said that Russia should be presumed innocent until proven guilty, but Trump should be presumed guilty until proven innocent because he couldn't prove him innocent.
Right.
Our system has been turned on its head, and the idea that a prosecutor who hired a number of anti-Trump lawyers, no one disputes that most of them supported Democrats and had no love lost for Trump, had hundreds and hundreds of subpoenas, millions and millions of documents, and spent $40 million, and yet still could not possibly find out that Trump had done something wrong, that somehow magically they still haven't done enough in order to find him responsible for illegal acts, and that somehow we should continue this witch hunt. I find it interesting and saddening that a person who purportedly has such an intellect and a reputation would go on to the television and make such an idiotically nonsensical statement that serves to do nothing helpful for anyone other than to stir the pot of the nonsense. Had he come on and said, here's the legal theories, or let me explain to you why it is that even though I knew at the beginning of this, I could never possibly charge the president. I was going to spend $40 million of the taxpayer money that could have gone to build homes and infrastructure in Panama City and the Panhandle. I nonetheless went forward and wasted this money and then got together and colluded with the media, along with other Democrats, by suggesting through silence and other options that there was this ongoing conspiracy and immediate indictment that would occur, is just beyond preposterous. And when you listen to this, you say to yourself, it's hard to not be upset about this. On the other hand, certain Democrats have seized upon this and have now raised, again, the impeachment talks. And I find that interesting because whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, whether you're for Trump or not, the idea that you would then try to move forward with impeachment, to me, is such political suicide that I want to go and get a group of donuts and some hot fudge sundaes and sit back with you and everybody else that wants to come to the party and watch this insanity of intelligence, or lack thereof, from people who are going to now proceed to attempt to destroy their own party by running this, again, giant anti-Trump defamation, attack, all under the guise of they're so blinded by the hatred, so blinded by the just vitriol that they have against this man, that they're willing to sacrifice the public. They're willing to sacrifice Democrats who don't believe in that, may have differing views, and willing to sacrifice and to hijack our entire Congress in order to satisfy this absurd, bizarre, left, socialist, anti-Trump regime, which does nothing to help anyone. If the Democrats were smart, if the Republicans were smart, if people were smart, they would be focusing on how to get money to the panhandle, how to develop our infrastructure, help our health plans become more cost-effective, how to continue to improve our educational system so we don't continue to fall behind, and not spend day after day each one of these nutcases trying desperately to do nothing more than to get their 15 minutes of fame because it puts their name on the map. As if anybody knew who Nadler was, or Kamala Harris, or Cory Booker before they started making these radical, insane statements purposely designed to get attention. And the idea that you would think that somehow we shouldn't be negotiating for a better trade deal with China so our lives are better, or we shouldn't have made a better deal with Mexico or Canada, is beyond lunacy. It's despicable infidelity to our people. And I just looked at yesterday, and again, I was just saddened because I have no problem with differing views. I have a problem with manipulative polarization that is done for the sole purpose of either hatred, ill will, or an agenda-based thing that is not serving our public. And so I guess that's just a few of my thoughts about how unfortunate yesterday was, and the continuing conspiracy, if you want to use that word, of the media to misreport things in some attempt to hold on to this anti-Trump, nonsense. And again, I want to just close by saying, I'm not saying this to be anti-Democrat or pro-Republican. I'm saying this as a normal person who's looking at this objectively and just saying it's just nonsense, and it's so angering to all of us who are listening that we are spending millions or tens of millions of dollars on things that we both know, that all of us know, do nothing to move our system of justice, fairness, equity, and relief our way.
Yeah, by the way, I love that I know that you're an attorney when in real conversation you say, and in closing. No, you know what, man, it's refreshing to hear you put it intelligently, as you just did, but also throw in the emotion. Because I feel the same way. And I see Robert Mueller comes out and says, well, President Trump didn't commit a crime, and we have confidence, we would have said so. The timing and the wording, all of that yesterday was so obviously pandering. I guess pandering is probably the wrong word, but for, as you said, attention. It really is amazing that we allow it to happen and we allow ourselves to be swayed one way or the other when something so obvious, for obvious reasons was done at a certain time. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what happened and unfolded yesterday to figure that out. And it is sad. And it is sad that we have so many other problems and so many other things on the agenda. We have a president that finally, my God, the guy is actually focusing on some of those issues and how he can actually work at this point without getting, bombarded into the emotional affairs after something so obviously crooked happened. It's amazing. Finally we got a guy in the White House who's actually looking into things and is getting things done. And, you mentioned the panhandle. We see, our local politicians, by the way, I don't know how plugged you are into our media here just locally in the panhandle. I mean, I know you're busy doing your job, and I'm thankful that you're really good at it and you're helping people. But on the political side of it, we have politicians and local officials in our municipalities here that on a daily basis are baffled with their jaws on the floor going, what is happening politically where we're at 230-something days and we still have yet to do something. You got Massey in Kentucky. You got the other guy, Chip Roy, I think, in Texas, that both of them have held this up once again for their own political attention. How many times, and I'll get off my soapbox here, but how many times do we see someone in politics that's holding all of this up based on, A, trying to get attention, and B, silly political motives? Silly. I'm tired. I'm really tired of it.
It's, again, what's angering and frustrating for all of us is that after $40 million and literally thousands of hours of media attention that had indicted Trump and other officials with Trump, and after what we all know is now completely illegal surveillance of a campaign, the best that you have to offer is 9 minutes of a respected man getting up and telling you how, despite having the dream team working for him, he wants to let people know that he has nothing, but that he couldn't exonerate Trump, as if that's the new standard, that when you are charged with a crime, when you are alleged to have done any wrongdoing, civilly or criminal, that we must presume that you are absolutely and totally guilty, and that it is the job of the prosecutor to find enough evidence to exonerate you. The quantum level of stupidity in that statement, to me, is just a microcosm of how tragic our situation has gotten. And the idea that any platform from a party, such as the Democratic Party, would be that now we should go and impeach is just so silly and so unfortunate, because you are fighting for your lives in the Panhandle. You are looking for compensation. You are looking to grow your life and to help other things other than the Panhandle in terms of helping global education, protecting against the immigration crisis, which, by the way, as you recall, was not a crisis, was an absolute hoax, according to all of the media. And so when you see things like that, you recognize that certain things are true. Number one, you can't believe anything or most things that the media is saying on the liberal side because you don't know if it's the flavor of the month, the manipulation that's used that week to curry favor and to enslave people with absurd, underintelligence in order to keep them believing in some cause that you want. And number two, you realize that, it is come to a time where we are actually losing faith in our media and the ability to trust anything. In the end, I can tell you with absolute certainty, regardless of whether this guy Mueller is trying to get a book deal or get attention or get a new analyst job on CNN or whatever it is he's trying to do, that in the end, this procedure of trying to impeach or manipulate or continue this agenda is only going to destroy the Democratic chances for success. And I candidly think that that's terrible. I really think, and I'd really love for these intelligent people who went to Ivy League schools and got all this education, have all this experience, I'd love for you and I to intellectually debate some good discussions about what we should do with our money on infrastructure or education, both from the Democratic and Republican side. I'd really love to debate and argue what we should be doing over in the Middle East. I'd really love to debate and argue how our foreign policy should work and how quickly we should overthrow Venezuela or not get involved. I'd really like to have discussions that are going to impact healthcare and things that affect you and I every day. And I'd love to have those debates with intelligent opinions on both sides. But instead, the entire Democratic platform, tragic as it may be, the entire platform is, we hate Trump. We'll say anything in the papers to promote that hatred and to get people who might otherwise not believe this stuff to continue to believe them. And we will hijack the entire party for our own pecuniary gain because I might be able to get a book deal, or I might be able to get on television, or I might be able to help myself for those 7 minutes of fame that I want. And then when that doesn't work, when the crisis at the border doesn't work and it turns out I was lying all along, I'll just change the narrative and I'll say we're going to impeach Trump because he's colluding. And then when that doesn't work, and we were lying, and we really didn't have all the evidence that these people like Schiff guaranteed they have, I'll just change the narrative again and say that you're separating kids at the border intentionally. And then when that doesn't work, so what happens is we're teaching our youth and we're teaching people the wrong message. Family integrity, character, and morals matter. And the idea that we should promote hatred and lies and manipulation in order to get your way is really the worst thing that you and I can hear, not only for us, but for our youth and for the message we're trying to send America.
Absolutely. More to come. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. Calls coming, 850-233-9988.
This is the Kramer Show. Kramer Show. More to come on NewsTalk at 101. Kramer Show. 6 to 9 weekdays on NewsTalk at 101.
All right, we got Scott Major. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left before the bottom of the hour break here. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. To contact Scott off the air, 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. You're talking about an attorney here that is helping people all over the Panhandle and who's been helping people, both with his law firm and coming on the air now for 7 months. And you're hearing political opinions from a guy who you can tell really thinks about it, and it's always interesting to hear not only him talk about post-Hurricane Michael stuff, but to get his take on politics as things kind of happen. And, my goodness, the political, what's the word I'm looking for? Right now, it's just a fervor, and it's just going off, so there's plenty to talk about. Scott, today, when people get on the air, we're going to give a MAGA hat, and we're going to give a Love and Kisses You T-shirt, just so you know. So if you call up and get on the air, 850-233-9988, we're going to give you a MAGA hat, and we're also going to throw in that Love and Kisses You T-shirt. Coming up on the break, but is there something in particular post-Hurricane Michael you want to talk about on the show?
Sure. When we come out of the break, I'd love to talk a little bit about what we do as a law firm, or what good lawyers do in terms of when they go to file a suit or to hold the insurance company accountable, and how much information we demand from them in order to help each of the listeners understand and force the insurance company to tell you why they have delayed, what the basis of their delays are, what the support there is for not paying, and how, under the law, you can hold them accountable and at least find out not only why you're not getting paid, but also why the conduct occurred that took so long with which for you to either get paid or to properly get an explanation that shows why they're not paying you. And I think that would be helpful for people to understand that it's not just some lawsuit we're filing, but all of the demands we make associated under the law that gives you the rights that you want as a listener to demand and secure information that you otherwise wouldn't get by a phone call.
Okay, we'll let him talk about that. And then Ken, Phyllis, anybody on hold, we're going to get to your phone calls, I promise, next. Stand by.
This is the Kramer Show on the Good Old Boy Network. News Talk at 101. The phone lines are open for you to sound off. Sound off.
This place got a telephone.
850-233-9988. This is the Kramer Show on News Talk at 101.
That is correct. Scott Major's with us from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. 850-233-9988. Ken, you're on the Kramer Show. You're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm just amazed at how much these people on TV tell us exactly who they are. According to what I hear from Mr. Mueller, he told us that he was an integral part of this trap that they placed for President Trump. And he solidified that he was one of the members, but what he said yesterday and how he performed his duties. So what I see is the world faced with modern-day robber barons that are trying to gain a hold on all this electronic stuff instead of oil and the trains the way it used to be in United States history, where people were kicked to the side for the progression of the trains and the oil and that type of thing. So you're seeing modern-day robber barons is the way I look at it, and that's why the Republicans and Democrats are all involved, and the work of the people cannot be completed. So I'm worried about Hillary Clinton. She needs to be in protective custody, because I think last year somebody made the statement that if she goes down, she's going to take everybody with her. She needs to be in protective custody. Good luck to everybody.
Well, thanks a lot, and I'll tell you that I essentially agree with the concept that it is unfortunate that you have this hijacking of truth and other intelligence. You know, why wasn't yesterday a chance for Robert Mueller to say, we did a lot of investigation, and I want to announce as my first two paragraphs that I'm speaking that we should all go out into the streets and celebrate joyously that our president did not conspire, nor did any of his administration officials conspire with the Russians in a way that was improper, illegal, or worthy of any type of retribution. And let's all understand that this is a time for healing and a time for all of us to understand that we might have had certain views, perhaps misguided, perhaps not, but we had certain views, And we realize now that he has been completely exonerated. And the reason why I use the word exonerated is we've been unable to demonstrate the standard required. And all of us should be happy about that. And what we should be doing is understanding how we got to a situation where I, Robert Mueller, was going to spend $40 million on something I knew was not necessarily even accurate to begin with. And I knew early on there was not going to be any evidence of illegal conspiracy. To me, what is improper about being nonpartisan about it and not doing what he did, which leaves no room for error in our thinking. Nobody who is reasonable could listen to yesterday and think that that was apolitical and think that that was just something that was being talked about to clarify, cleanse, and warm the hearts of Americans and balm the wound, the divisive wound that's occurred here. No one could do that. And as you saw from some of the media jumping on this, most of it was just a weaponization, yet again, of this kind of unfortunate hatred that doesn't serve us well. So I think it's hard not to agree with the listener and not to think that what possible helpful mode could this 9 minutes have been from an otherwise decorated guy who you put in charge of an investigation and, you know, had the chance to heal America and to say, we're done, it's closed, and we all need to move on as a country. What would have been so painful to do that? And that, to me, is part of the bigger tragedy that lies here.
Totally agreed. 850-233-9988. Let's go to Phyllis. Phyllis, you're up with Scott Major. Go ahead.
Hi, I got a question. When you go to your insurance company and you request a complete copy of your policy, how long do they have to get it to you?
Okay, so the statute in Florida requires them to provide it to you within 30 days.
30 days.
And that is, you know, found in Chapter 626. But I can tell you that your agent or broker is required to provide it to you within 30 seconds. So if you're looking for a full copy of your insurance policy, the first person you call is the person who sold you that insurance, who bragged about how it was going to protect you and give you all the coverage that you needed. And they should have it right in their email where they can push a button and send it to you immediately. So you can ask the insurance company to give you a copy, and usually
if you have done that, and it has been going on 2 weeks,
have you spoken to the person who sold you the insurance?
Yes, I went to the agency that I got that our policies and stuff come through, and we've been with them for probably 40 years, ever since we bought the house.
You should really speak to them and find out why they are not giving you a copy of an insurance policy that they're required under their duties to have a copy of. And
they
if they're not
said
giving
that
it to you immediately,
because they were told that anything had to go through the claim agent.
Yeah,
that handles
again,
their claim down here,
yeah.
And the request had to go through them.
That is, I will announce it on the air, that is absolutely absurd and totally wrong. And I would have no problem telling that to anybody to their face. They have to have a copy of your insurance policy. And if they don't have a copy of your insurance policy, they're being paid by you to help you. They need to get that. And if they're not going to do that, I highly recommend you consider another agency to help you, because that's who works for you. That's your agent. If they don't even know what they sold you, and they don't even have a copy of the very policy they told you that you had to pay for, then I just have a fundamental problem with continuing my relationship with them. But that's one guy's opinion. That's my
opinion, but I just wanted to know how, and I think they're doing this to a lot of people down here.
Every single person, if you don't have responses from your agent, and I tell everyone this all the time, your agent should be helping you get paid. And although agents don't like that, they should be helping you to get paid your claims because they're your agent. But having said that, if you guys don't have confidence in your agent, dial the 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS, and we'll give you the names of insurance agents and brokers that will treat you with a bit more respect than you've been receiving. But that's just crazy. It's frustrating. And I got to tell you, it's hard for me, even though I'm not you, to not be angry about that because I just feel like that's something that at its fundamental base should happen. They have to give you your insurance policy. If they're not your agent, if they're not going to represent you, then what did you spend 40 years of premiums for? I mean, it's insane. So offline, if you have any problems with them and if you need us to get involved, just call us on the phone, the 844-800-LAWS, and we're happy to help you.
Okay, thank you very much. You have a good day.
Have a great day. Hope it helps.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard from callers in the past several months, from people that were told that they can't get, a copy of their policy. Remember, I mean, we took them. You and I have taken those. It's ridiculous.
And these are people. That's like going to your doctor and saying to your doctor, "I know I've been treating with you for the last, 5 years, and I'd like a copy of my medical records," and them saying, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to give them to you. I just don't like the way you breathe or look, or I just don't feel like doing it." I mean, that's how absurd it is. Going to the school to check on your kid's grades and say, "I need a copy of my kid's transcript." No, we're just not going to give it to you. We just don't like the way you were dressed today. I mean, you should never have an agent working for you that is not going to, number one, give you a copy of the policy immediately, and number two, go to bat and fight for you. A lot of these agents that sold the insurance, the problem we have is that these agents don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. And so what happens is they tell you they're representing you and they're working on your behalf, but they really don't want to handle your claim because then they got to tell the insurance company, hey, listen, you need to pay this claim. The insurance company doesn't want to do that. I can't tell you how many insurance agents and brokerages have called me and said, "Please take the claim," because I don't want to be the bad guy and to call the insurance company and tell them they need to pay. But all the listeners are out there are thinking, they would say to themselves, "I bought an insurance policy from someone." Okay, where are those people in the last 7 months in helping me collect my money? I don't have to pay them. I've already paid them. Why aren't they going to bat and helping me process my claim? Because they're the ones who sold me the insurance policy from the insurance company they said was reputable. So, that's a whole nother, set of problems that infuriate me. And it just doesn't make any sense when the listeners are left out in the cold to try to run for themselves. The person who sold you the insurance should know the most about your coverage. They should be on the phone with you saying, "That's absolutely absurd that the insurance company wouldn't pay for your fence or your ALE or your contents. I'm the one who sold you the policy. Give me the name of that adjuster. I'm going to call him on the phone and give him a verbal licking." I mean, come on. And it's amazing.
It's crazy. I got off the air one day and took a phone call, and it was this woman, and she was just man, she was so hot. She was so mad at me. And she's like, "I dare you go on the air and intentionally assume that all insurance agents are bad and that all insurance companies are bad." And she's just going off. And I said to her, "Look, I can tell by your anger that you're frustrated because you probably are trying to do your job the best you can do it. And I appreciate that. But I want you to understand that it'd be different if we had a lot of phone callers from people saying that the insurance company treated them like the little jewels that they are. And, they come to your house and they give you a cup of coffee and they sit you down and they say, 'Hey, we're going to work and we're going to fight and we're going to, as a matter of fact, let's not even do that. I'm just going to get my checkbook out right now. I'm going to give you a check. here's $500 in cash, and I just want you to go have a nice dinner somewhere and enjoy and pamper. And, no, that's not what's happening. And it's not that. Please don't misunderstand and think that either Scott Major or myself or anyone else is here solely to go off on the insurance companies.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, please demonstrate that you are doing your job. Demonstrate to people that you are trying to actually help them and not, spend. I mean, folks, it's been almost coming up on 8 months, 7.5 months, and there are people that are not getting basic help from the insurance companies. So, yeah, people are mad. People are angry, and they want to express it. So what do? They call a radio show, and they talk about it. You deal with it on a daily basis. I'm just some guy that hears it, and I repeat it back like a parrot because I hear it from people. You are on the other end. You're hearing it, seeing it, dealing with it, trying to make phone calls, trying to talk to the right people. You are seeing the policies that are being shoved back. I don't know how you get through the day without wanting to beat your head on your steering wheel. I honestly really don't.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think we've made it clear that there are lots of claims that aren't paid. We're not taking issue with whether the insurance company has paid 10,000 claims or whether they've paid 50,000 claims. But if you paid 50,000 claims, but you had 30,000 more claims that weren't paid, why should I give you a free pass? Because somehow you did half of your job well. And I would love to come on the radio. It would make my day to come on the radio and say, we have very few claims of insurance companies that are refusing to pay. So let's talk for the next 6 months about bettering your insurance and choosing different types of policies that will help you to maybe be more successful in terms of the way you spend money. What possible motive could people like me have to protect the citizens of the Panhandle who are wrongfully and maliciously not being paid for absolutely idiotic reasons in large part? What possible motive could we have to make that stuff up? Contrary to popular belief, we're not the Democratic Party or the liberal media that makes up false things in order to advance a narrative. Nothing would make me happier than to not have to tell you the war stories or for you to not receive phone calls that you receive on a daily basis or go to a lunch and have people, pound you with nightmarish stories or to be 8 months out and you and I are still talking about people like this woman who just called who can't even get a copy of her insurance policies 8 months later. The idea that we're bashing insurance companies is a projection of anybody who doesn't get it and doesn't understand. And that has nothing to do with us not thinking that there's a lot of claims that have been paid and a lot of people that have received money. And we're proud of the insurance companies for what they have done. And we're proud of the people who do work hard. And I'm proud of every desk level adjuster who works for an insurance company that's trying his or her hardest to pay every dollar. But that doesn't change reality. And that doesn't change the fact that you and I, unfortunately, have been on the radio hour after hour, week after week, and you have people still stacked on the phones right now calling me because they're not being paid for moronic reasons. Not that I have any feelings about this.
No, I trust me. I absolutely get it. And I honestly could not make it through my day if I were you dealing with it and not physically harm myself. Phones are open. Scott Major is with us, 850-233-9988. Now, they do have a website that you can visit as well, stormhelpteam.org. More with Scott Major coming up. Stand by.
This is the Kramer Show. More to come on NewsTalk at 101.
Kramer Show. It's NewsTalk at 101. Scott Major with us. Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. contact them off the air, 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. Got a couple of minutes left on the show, so if you want to get through, go ahead. What's on the agenda today? How many attorneys do you have that work for you guys that are on,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Do you guys have a bunch of people? I know you have free consultations that are available here, which, by the way, that office, where what's the street again that the office is on?
Harrison.
Yes. So you can set it, you can call that.
Right. If you call the number, I'm sorry, I apologize. If you call the number 800, the 844-800-LAWS number, we'll either meet you there or we'll meet you at your house or we'll talk to you on the phone, whatever makes it easiest for you in order to get you educated about what you should be doing now. But I will tell the listeners, if you have not been paid and you do not have sufficient counsel to aid you, I am begging you, call our number, even if you don't hire us, even if you want the name of another lawyer. But please, don't wait any longer. Everybody who pursues the insurance company helps everybody else, because the more claims we can get paid, the more likely it is that other claims are going to get paid. As you and I spoke about this, if your neighbor received money for a damaged roof, it's going to be hard for the insurance company to say 20 feet away you didn't have similar damage to your structure. And so it's so important that all of us remember we need to continue to band together. And I'll go talk to anybody. I'll talk to grass growing. I'll talk to churches, neighborhoods, businesses, social groups, whatever it is you want. If I can help you to get smarter and more educated about what your rights are and how you could do this, whether you're doing it on your own or with the help of a lawyer.
Again, 844-800-LAWS, 844-800-LAWS. I think there's probably a lot of people that have been going through this. I've seen articles in the news where, and by the way, we took a phone call the other day that still haunts me. This woman who was having such a problem with her public adjuster, and I don't know how long that went on, but it took her how long before she goes, I'm breaking down, I'm crying, I don't know who to turn to. I'm at my wit's end. I loathe the idea that there are other people out there in the audience that are going through the same thing and that they've been too timid to pick up the phone and call Scott Major. It blows me away. It makes me sad.
Yeah, and hopefully, for as long as we've been on, we're producing something positive and educating people in a way that's productive, and hopefully this will catch on as more and more people realize that this is a vehicle to help you to simply get paid.
Scott, always a pleasure, my friend. What a fantastic hour. Thank you so much. Again, I'm going to give the phone number and the website. The phone number to contact Scott and the crew at Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team, 844-800-LAWS, and the website is stormhelpteam.org. Thank you for what you do, my friend. I appreciate it, Scott.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for all you do for the community. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon, pal.
You got it. I'll talk to you soon. There he is, Scott Major from Major Parúas and the Storm Help Team. Hour number 3 coming up. Phones 850-233-9988. So, how's that housing and the costs associated with housing in the Panhandle? How's that coming? Is it going down? Is life getting better here? I'll have the answer. The fun little answer. Coming up next, stand by.
More of the Kramer Show next. News Talk at 101.
It's super duper.